with you. You're leading right now. And you're absolutely right that it wasn't a simple protest. You all made goals, you had a plan, and you worked your plan. And you're still working your plan. Some adults don't know how to do that. But I was there on the stairs of the La Mesa Police Department before you all arrived, when you walked from Helix. And I heard the lieutenant say to all the news media there that they would not even consider taking him off of his job. They were not even considering the option of putting him on leave, unpaid or otherwise, and certainly not suspension. But because of your work, he is not working because he's unfit to interact with children, to interact with our kids. And that's because of your work. I'm humbled that you all have taken up the mantle. When Muhammad spoke, you talk about tears. He spoke at the press conference and he made the most impassioned plea I had ever heard for people to vote for me, to vote for Dave Myers. Faculty members at his school had never heard of us. They didn't even know that the incumbents, mine a manufactured one, had challengers, had opponents. These babies, I'm sorry, you guys are my babies. Y'all might be seniors and sophomores, but y'all my babies. They're looking at us, they're watching us, and they're teaching. They're leading right now in our communities. How can we not stand behind them? How can we not respect them? You are our equals, you are our counterparts in this, and we look to you. As we stand behind you, we stand with you. Know that every single person in this room stands with you. You are not alone, you will never be alone, and we're going to be there every single step of the way. Now I want to say something, because there was this one key fact that was missing. Every time someone talked about what happened to Bree, she was a young lady who was also handcuffed at the time of being body slammed by a academy-trained, grown man with a badge. And what stuck out to me, what stuck out for me, was actually a lot of things. But the first thing was that the officer involved had no clue someone was watching and videotaping. So he lied. And he lied on Bree. And he said that she tried to pull away and she used force. And he didn't say he used force. You should have heard the words he said to sugarcoat it and make it all rosy. But we saw what happened, and if you didn't, go and look at it. Because this is how officers with badges are interacting with our children.
Every day. Every day.
Someone had footage. And thank God someone had footage. But does that footage mean anything to our district attorney? No. Where is she? And why is Bree wondering if she's going to be prosecuted? Why is Bree wondering if a case is going to be levied against her? That is a problem with our justice system, and we need to talk about it. Because when we're talking about protecting our power, protecting our children, protecting our communities, that should not even be a thought that Bree should be a defendant in someone's case. This is disturbing to me. This is how our children are being treated right now. We need to know if there's going to be an investigation from the district attorney's office into the misconduct of the officer, not whether Bree is going to have a charge or a case levied against her. There's something else that stuck out to me. There was all this false information about Bree. She had every right to be on that campus. She was not suspended from campus. And let me tell you this, she's a 4.0 student. But every time our children have an incident, even when it's not their fault, let's talk about Trayvon Martin. They always seek to demonize our children. I'm not going to let it happen here. We saw it happen with Trayvon. We saw it happen with Mike Brown. We saw all this irrelevant information coming into play to say somehow it was deserved. We don't have to look far at other states because it happened right here. When we talk about Alfred Olongo, what the DA's office did there was to demonize him and use a picture where they zoomed in on a vape pen to make it look as if we were staring down the barrel of a gun when they knew that it was not a gun, but this is how they will portray us and our children. And we have to be careful about that, and we can't let that happen. And so when I hear you young people speak, and you talk about self-awareness, and you talk about defining yourselves and knowing who you are and having a voice, keep that, because we have to change the current state of affairs. In 2012, African Americans were 5.5% of our county's population, and yet 22.2% of our jail population. In 2015, we were 5.6% of the county's population and 23.6% of our county jail population. Right now, 1 out of every 10 black men in their 30s will be in prison or jail on any given day. African American women are incarcerated 2 times more than their white counterparts. This is what we're dealing with. We have an opportunity for change, and I'm hoping that we all step up because things cannot continue the way that they are going. We refuse to go back. We won't go back. And we're going to stand up, we're going to rise together, we're going to have solidarity, and we're going to back our children. We're going to back our babies. Know that. I'm so proud of you.